Philadelphia, what's the Whoopi Goldberg line from Ghost? You in danger, girl? Was that the line? That's what I'd say about the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, this is a team I predicted before the season. I said, I think we're going to get a Super Bowl rematch. Kansas City, Philly, let's do it one more time. Round 3, rubber match. Not looking so great in the AFC side. Talk about the Chiefs on Friday. Again, not ruling them out for dead, but they got to win out, and that's going to be hard to do. And for Philadelphia, they should make the playoffs, but could they miss it? Here's why I say that. Everything that made this Eagles team great last year. Started 2-2, only lost one game the rest of the year, and in that game, Jalen Hurts got hurt in the first quarter, so in games that Jalen started and finished, they won every single game the rest of the year, and Jalen was great in the Super Bowl, and Saquon was the runaway offensive player of the year. Everything that made this team great a year ago, save for good play in the defense. The defense got pushed around, but I trust Vic Fangio. They'll be fine. That's all gone. Dominant play up front. Again, some of this feels like the injury to Cam Jurgens, who's clearly not healthy out there. Cam Jurgens deal with injuries, and they've obviously missed the kid. Oh my gosh, what's his name? The guy was with them last year, moved on. I'm blanking on his name. Shoot, the offensive lineman that played for them a year ago. He's totally blanking on it, but left them last year or after this past year. Lane Johnson's been dealing with injuries. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries up front, not being able to win the line of scrimmage, and Saquon Barkley, as a result, has been a shell of himself. This year, Saquon Barkley, 18th in rush yards per game, 39th in yards per carry, tied for 19th in 10-yard runs, 27th in 20-yard runs, and he is 28th in rushing touchdowns. Thank you, Patrick Mekhi Becton. That's who I was referring to. Mekhi Becton, that's the guy who was excellent for them last year, was kind of a steal by Howie Roseman. He's not with them anymore, and it shows. Cam Jurgens has been hurt. Lane Johnson has been hurt. This, to me, the little 2-game mini skid. They're now 8-4. All of a sudden, the Dallas Cowboys are a game and a half back at them. If Philadelphia won on Friday, I'm like, okay, yeah, they're going to run away with the NFC East. That's what I think all of us felt. Once Jaden Daniels went down, the Giants became the Giants again, and Dallas got off to a rough start, and their defense was terrible. It's like, okay, Philly's going to win this division almost by default. I am certainly not saying, okay, I'm out in Philly winning the East, but based on their schedule the rest of the way, listen, next Monday night is going to tell us a lot about this football team because they go on the road, but to the Chargers, who we know have literally no home field advantage to speak of. There will be more Philadelphia Eagles fans than Chargers fans in SoFi Stadium. Both their tackles are out. Their offensive line is abysmal. And now Justin Herbert's hurt. He had surgery today, I think. You got to win that. If Philadelphia loses this game, and again, this is all going to hinge on whether Dallas wins Thursday against Detroit. But if both of those things happen, if Dallas wins, Philly loses, I think I'll pick Dallas to beat Philly for the division. The Eagles still going to play Washington twice, and hey, Commanders put up one heck of a fight yesterday against the Broncos. Divisional familiarity, they could split with them. And they still play the Buffalo Bills later this year. So this is a situation where Dallas, after the Detroit game, the schedule's not bad. You got the Chargers at home. Dallas should win that game. Again, the Chargers are beat up. Vikings at home, that should be a W. And then you finish with Washington. The Giants, those should both be blowout Ws. And if that happens, have you seen the wild card mix? Because not sure there'll be room for Philadelphia. San Francisco's winning. Again, Niners have a sneaky, kind of difficult schedule the last month of the year. Seattle does almost nothing on offense. Doesn't matter because their defense was amazing, albeit against a backup quarterback yesterday from Minnesota, a guy who's J.J. McCarthy's backup. Seattle's going to be in the postseason. The Rams are going to be in the postseason. Chicago, Green Bay, they're going to be in the postseason. Like, it feels like Thursday's an elimination game. Whoever loses between Dallas and Detroit, their season's over. But if Dallas wins Thursday, and if Philadelphia loses a game, I think they should win. Is there a line for that game? I want to see if there's a line for that game. If I had to guess for check, I'd say Philly minus 2.5. Okay, it's Philly minus 3. So it's Philadelphia minus 3 on the road right now. If they don't win that game, folks, they are, because so much of this, again, injuries up front on the offensive line. Mekhi Becton gone. Lane Johnson's injured. Cam Jurgens has been injured. Jalen Hurts, listen, I've defended him this year. I think he's been great in spots. He's been bad the last few games, folks. The inaccuracy is an issue. He's not seeing the field very well. Saquon all year has been a no-show. Like, the defense has kind of saved them in spots against Detroit and against Green Bay. Get off to a hot start in Dallas, go cold the rest of the way. And a lot of this also falls on Nick Sirianni. Is that if you're a Nick Sirianni, if your calling card is motivation, culture, having guys ready to go, because we know it's not play calling, right? You call plays your first half of your first season in Philadelphia. That didn't work at all. You handed it to Shane Steichen, and Jalen Hurts almost wins MVP the next year. And then Brian Johnson, that bombs. Then he hired Kellen Moore, who, as I always say, had the crazy idea, hey, let's just give the ball to Saquon Barkley with our amazing offensive line a million times. It got Kellen Moore a head coaching job. Regardless, Kellen Moore wasn't exactly a wizard. And now this year, Kevin Patullo has been a disaster. I don't know how Philadelphia doesn't move on from him at this point. Some of this falls on Sirianni. What did I say about Tom earlier? If you're whatever your side of the ball is, what's your sensibility? How are they playing? How productive are they? Tomlin's defense is terrible in Pittsburgh. Sirianni's an offensive guy, supposedly. Eagles' offense has been their Achilles heel. It has been. So I'm not going to sell all my stock in Philadelphia yet. But that Monday night game next week is going to reveal a lot about this football team. If they can't beat the Chargers without their tackles, with Herbert not at 100%, in what's a virtual, at worst, neutral site game at SoFi against LA Chargers, if they lose that game and Dallas wins on Thursday, we're looking at a world in which the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs both miss the playoffs. We are. Because I think Dallas could, at that point, could run them down for the East. So that was credit to the Bears, major credit to the Bears. That was a culture win for Ben Johnson. They pushed Philadelphia around all over the field for 3.5 hours on Black Friday. Had Philadelphia Eagles fans, they were, I'm sure they were getting their buy one, get one 40% off on jerseys. They were selling those jerseys after the game at the Eagles team shop. They were done. That was a bit concerning, to say the very least, if you're an Eagles fan. All right, some comments. Patrick, Ben Johnson, a player's coach. Hey, Steelers, that's what you need. Wait, the standard is the standard. Oh, don't remind me, Patrick. Philly has the highest paid offense, Steelers highest paid defense. If these two play tomorrow, it'd end in a tie. It very well might, Patrick. And, God, that would be an ugly game. I think we'd be talking about, what, 16-16 is the final score, something like that. Like just an ugly, poorly played, turnovers type of game. Saquon Barkley, by the way, talked about, whoops, didn't mean to hit the mic there. Saquon Barkley talked about the Eagles' struggles.
After 2 losses in a row, you got to realize everything we want is still in front of us. And the way we do that is by staying together. We got to address some things. We got to fix some things, obviously. Out there in the field, we're not playing up to our standard, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But the way we fix that is by coming together, blocking out the noise, and try to go out there and get a win.
Like I said, that game against the Chargers on Monday is a must-win. Like, however you got to get it. Let's just go into LA, get a W, and then we'll move on from there. But again, man, if Dallas wins Thursday, Philly loses Monday, I would go so far in the show to pick the Cowboys to win the NFC East. Maybe a half game back with an easier schedule. So, God, that's a huge game for Philadelphia. Well, I would argue one of the biggest games of this NFL season, because I've been of the mindset in the AFC, among the wildcard teams, Chargers, Bills, and Jaguars, or I guess right now it's the Colts. We'll talk about those Jaguars later in our Week 13 recap. But of those teams, I think the Chargers, in my view, were the team most likely to miss if Kansas City wins out. Because I'm not, and by the way, or if Houston wins out. Either team, I think, is better than the Chargers today because of the injuries up front, and Herbert's now not healthy. So this is a huge game for both teams and could shape the playoff picture in both conferences. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.